All right, guys, I wanted to teach you a principle or a kind of a comparison of what a health journey looks like in terms of really how the reality of a health journey, I guess is the best way to say this. So I'm going to draw out a mountain here. All right, this is what it looks like. So this is a mountain. All right, here's the top of the mountain. We got a cool little flag. Can you see the flag? Can't see the flag. All right, so I want to kind of illustrate, guys, what a journey looks like, and I want to make a comparison, okay? This is Mount Everest, all right? And this is a pretty kind of real comparison of what climbing Mount Everest looks like, right? A lot of people every single year set out to climb Mount Everest, and a lot of people fail. In fact, a lot of people actually die. And the main reason that they die is because they think, okay, I'm going to go from the bottom of this mountain the whole way to the top of this mountain as quickly as I can. And that's the same way a lot of people look at their fitness journey. And what ends up happening is they basically try to eat that entire mountain in one bite, or they think about taking that journey in one huge stride, and they don't necessarily physically die, but they die from a standpoint of their belief, their confidence. They're beating themselves up the whole way, so it's not an enjoyable journey, even while they're on their way to where they think they're going. And then inevitably they end up beating themselves up when they fall out of the process. So we're at the bottom of the mountain here, okay? A lot of people look at the bottom of the mountain and they think, okay, if I'm gonna reach this goal, if I'm gonna get to the top, I'm gonna do that in one big fell swoop. Okay, again, it's not how it works. So if this is Mount Everest, say we have base camp here, right? Then we got level 1, we got level 2, we got level 3, we'll put level 3 there, and then we got the top of the mountain. So the way that it actually works when people climb Mount Everest is it takes them 6 days to go from the bottom of the mountain to base camp, right? They hike and take 6 days to get to that first base camp, right? Most people, they think about, okay, well, if I were to ask you guys, what do those people do once they get to base camp here? Well, the answer is, most people will tell me, oh, well, then they move on to the first level. They go to level 1, which would be here, right? The actual truth is what they do is they stay at base camp for 1 to 2 weeks, right? And the idea of going to base camp and staying there is so that their body can acclimate to where they are at in that journey to the top of the mountain. So very similar to our journey, guys, we have to understand this 6 days is the learning curve. It's the learning process. And I'm not saying 6 days, right? It's going to take you to learn, but enter any time frame there. Could be a month, could be 3 weeks. Everybody's a little bit different, right? On how quickly you pick these things up, how quickly you buy into the process, how quickly you understand that, hey, I'm going to do this and just remove emotion and execute, right? So, but in the case of Everest, it takes them 6 days to get to base camp, and then they spend 1 to 2 weeks here, right? That 1 to 2 weeks here with our goal, again, that time frame is irrelevant. But when we get here, this is where we reacclimate. We think, okay, this is the stuff I've been learning so far. I've been learning how to track my food. I've been learning how to execute and work this exercise into my day and drink my water and do all these things. We are learning the process, right? So we spend 1 to 2 weeks, and then what we do, if we're climbing Mount Everest, is now we go up to level 1, right? What do we do here at level 1? Most people would say, well, then you just go up to level 2. No, wrong. We stay here for 1 to 2 weeks. Right? And the reason why we stay there, again, is to acclimate. We are at a new elevation. We have less oxygen here. So we're going to acclimate at level 1 for a little bit. Very similar to our journey, we progress. We learn some new things, or this may just be the consistency of executing on the things that we learned here. All right, now I've been consistently executing for 4, 5, 6 weeks. Right? Like I'm doing well. The scale's down 10 pounds, but I still got 60 pounds to go. Right? Depending on where you're at and where your level of belief is, you may get discouraged, or you may use that as fuel of thinking in your head, which is the truth, of the same thing that I did to lose those 10 pounds is the same exact thing I'm going to do to lose these 60. I just got to keep executing, right? So again, with the Everest example, people look at this and what would the next logical step be, right? Well, then we go up to level 2, but you'd be wrong, because what happens when we climb Mount Everest is now they actually go back down to base camp. Why do they do that? Right? Because when we get here, our body is acclimating to a whole new level of oxygen deprivation, of fatigue, and they come back down to base camp because now our body is acclimated to a higher level, and we're coming back down and we're going to rest and recover and basically recharge the body to be able to operate more efficiently. So now when they decide to go up to level 2, it's going to be easier and they're going to be stronger when they get there. right? So very similar to our journey, there may be setbacks in our journey where we get to this point and we're looking ahead, no, I want to go there, right? Well, then life happens. Okay, we have a decision to make. These people that are climbing Everest, they go back down to base camp. Now they're looking at, damn, I got to do that walk again and then that much more on top of it. But guess what? They're not the same person they were here, right? They're not the same person they were here. They're not the same person they were here. They're not the same person they were here. Now they're coming back down here so they can be the best version to be able to get themselves to the level 2 base camp, right? And then so on and so forth. They continue that process until the next thing you know, several weeks later, a month, 2 months later, whatever it is for climbing Everest, now they're making their run for the top. But again, the whole point in this is they are very, very, very much different than the person they were here. Physically, mentally, belief-wise of what they're capable of, what they've already accomplished. They can now stop and look back and like, damn, man, we've already climbed freaking 23,000 feet of elevation. I'm a freaking badass. Yeah, that extra 40,000 feet, that's no problem. We got this. And the whole way through this, guys, is they're going forward a little bit, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, to become a better version of themselves, to operate more efficiently. For us, what these steps back are, is taking a step back physically from the process, not quitting or slowing down, but just looking at how far you've come, right? Something as simple as me 3 weeks ago would not have worked out 4 times in 1 week. Me 2 weeks ago wouldn't have been brave enough to reach out to the person that I'm talking to right now to help me with my fitness journey. That's a huge win in the right direction. Me a few weeks ago wouldn't have been listening to podcasts that put positivity in my mind. I wouldn't have been thinking about reading positive books. I would have been surrounding around people and cheering people on that are fighting through their journey, right? Me a couple of weeks ago was a guy sitting on the couch eating freaking buffalo chicken wings watching Netflix. So these little setbacks, they're only setbacks if you view them as setbacks. There are times to reflect on who you become through this process and where you are and how different you are, even day to day sometimes, right? And the last thing I want to leave you guys with is that all it takes is a decision. Okay, once these people decide to start climbing Everest, they're in it. Every step of the way, they have a decision to make. Do I want to continue climbing or do I want to give up, right? It just depends on how bad you want that. And for a lot of you, it's not about the end of the scale. Well, I'll just say it flat out. It's not for all of you. It's not. You just haven't recognized it yet. It's not about what you see at the end of the journey in terms of how much you weigh. It is about becoming the person that you're supposed to become along this journey here. Becoming the best version of yourself, the more confident, the happiest version of who you are. Somebody that's self-disciplined, somebody that has grit, fortitude, determination, somebody that can make decisions without second guessing themselves. Somebody that is a contributor to their family, to their society, somebody that can play with their kids, their grandkids without being out of breath, somebody that makes a decision that benefits them. Guys, you are the only person in your entire day and in your entire life that is capable of making the decisions consistently that benefit you. Who else in your life is going to make decisions that benefit you every single day? Very few people, right? Coworkers aren't making decisions that benefit you. They're looking out for themselves. Right? Family members, as much as they love you, they're looking out for themselves. You are the only person that gets to make those decisions that benefit you and that have your best interest in mind. And these types of decisions, sticking to this process, deciding to make yourself better, am I going to sabotage myself and eat this, or am I going to stay on track? Am I going to track my food or am I not? Am I going to commit to this process and stay with this process? You're the only one that gets to make that decision. So I just want to tell you that you're in it, and I am freaking damn proud of you. I want to see all of you win. So keep winning, keep identifying where you are in this journey, and keep identifying how far you've come. And you got a great coach helping you out. So can't ask for more than that. So all you got to do is keep going down the path and keep winning.